glad to be with you again this week. Hope you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves, staying healthy. I wanted to talk with you today about a few different things going on, some more local and then some stuff on the federal scene as well. First, I want to talk a little bit about, once again, the Canadian immigration system and the actions that it's proposing to take against Mexican refugee claimants here in Canada. One is a gay man. His name is HERBERTH Menendez. He's about 30 years old. HERBERTH has been here in Toronto since 2007, and ever since he arrived, HERBERTH has been a really amazing contributor to the LGBT community here in Toronto. He's a member of Latinos Positivos, who have become his chosen family here in Toronto. He's been a drag performer. He's done fundraising. He's just been an amazing contributor to the community, much in the same way that another refugee claimant that you'll remember we fought for, Alvaro Orozco, was. We talked about him a few months ago. So HERBERTH is also in the final stages of his pre-removal risk assessment. His lawyer is saying that it's not looking good for him, that he is likely to be deported back to real threats of violence against him, not only because he is gay, but also because he is HIV positive. And HERBERTH has been very open about that and has focused a lot of his energy on raising funds and raising awareness so that other people living with HIV here in Toronto and in Canada don't experience the kind of discrimination that he did. He was threatened by neighbors. He was threatened by his own family. He was dealt with in incredibly discriminatory ways when he sought medical treatment in his home country, in his hometown in Mexico. But this is not good enough for the Canadian government, and our deportation machine, which is what Citizen and Immigration Canada is turning into, is in very likely to decide to deport HERBERTH. So it's important for us to fight back against this. We did it with Alvaro Orozco. We were successful. We can do it again in benefit of HERBERTH. If you want to take action, there's a few things you can do. You can join HERBERTH, Latinos Positivos, and AIDS Action Now. They're going to be having a vigil of support for HERBERTH on November 8th. That is next Tuesday, November 8th, and Tuesday evening, November 8th, at Dundas Square at 6 p.m. and you can join in on that. You can also look for the event on Facebook, and you can contact aidsactionnowtoronto at gmail.com for more information. You are also, as always, welcome to contact Immigration Minister Jason Kenney and the Ontario Minister of Citizen and Immigration, Charles SOUSA, to make your concerns about what's going to possibly happen to HERBERTH known. So find out more about his case, and please join his supporters and myself on November 8th at Dundas Square to support HERBERTH. There's another couple as well facing deportation, Ana and Ramon. You can find out more information about Ana and Ramon. They also are facing deportation. They had to leave Mexico as refugees in 2008. Ana had reported a crime and had come to the attention of some of the infamous drug cartel people down there, and so they also faced real threats of violence and even death. They escaped to Canada, and they too are being seen by our government as somehow suspicious, somehow not legitimate refugees. This makes a mockery of Canada's pledges, international pledges, and history of providing refuge and a safe space for people facing persecution all around the world. Canada seems to have decided recently that Mexico in particular, that the people of Mexico, anyone coming here as a refugee claimant, is not to be trusted. We are severely limiting the claims of refugees from Mexico. We have recently decided as a country to require visas from visitors from Mexico. This is racist. This is anti-refugee. This goes along with the Immigration Department's recent moves to identify all potential refugees as somehow liars or criminals, there have been several bills that have been introduced that further criminalize refugees, and we really have to stand up against this. There will be an address on the bottom of your screen for a petition that you can sign to support Anna and Ramon, and again on November 8th you can come to Dundas Square at 6 p.m. and support HERBERTH Menendez HERBERTH Menendez as he struggles to stay in this country. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the actions of the federal Conservative Party, the Harper Conservatives, to scrap the long gun registry. As someone who has worked very hard for the rights of women to be free of violence, to be free of the threats of violence from their partners, this is a terrible, terrible move. The long gun registry was created in 1990 after the Montreal massacre. It was created as a direct response to that terrible senseless tragedy when Marc Le Pen decided that women, especially women who were feminist or women who were trying to better their lives, women who were trying to achieve equal status for men, he decided to wipe out those aspirations of 14 young women at l'École Polytechnique on December 6, 1989. And he did that using a restricted firearm, a long gun, a weapon that should not be in anyone's hands in this country. After that, through the advocacy of gun control advocates but also of feminists and women who were survived the December 6th massacre, the long gun registry was created. It went through bumps at first. It was not efficient the way it was put in place, but after some initial bumps and hiccups, the registry is in fact proved to be an invaluable resource. It makes people, particularly potentially violent men, register their guns. It lets the police know where the guns are, which homes have registered firearms and which don't. It imposes restrictions on the use of guns and the storage of guns and all sorts of things like that. We need these kinds of controls. Women in rural Ontario and rural Canada and remote parts of Canada in particular are very, very vulnerable to gun violence. And in fact, most of the domestic homicides that occur in Canada, most of the women who are killed by their partners in Canada are killed by a rifle or a long gun. So having the registry is a women's issue. It's a women's safety issue. It's a violence against women issue. And in scrapping the registry and claiming that in doing so they protect law-abiding citizens and hunters and farmers, the Conservatives are throwing women under the bus, particularly rural women, in an effort to gain votes in the rural parts of this country, which is where they depend on their votes because, of course, they have none in urban centers right across the country. This is an awful, ideological, partisan, cynical move on the part of the Conservatives to pander to some people they want to get votes from while ignoring the pleas of women, gun control advocates, women's advocates, and the police, for God's sakes. I mean, they're even willing to ignore the requests of police to have access to this registry. In addition, the Conservatives are going to destroy all of the records ever gathered in the registry, wasting billions of dollars and again, further ensuring that no one else will be able to mount a registry of this kind without incurring incredible cost. I'm really proud to say that the province of Quebec is fighting back and is standing up to this bullying tactic on the part of the Conservatives. They're refusing to hand over the records that they have for Quebec gun owners who have registered their guns. We would like to see the Ontario government, the Manitoba government, the Saskatchewan government, and every government in this country, provincial and territorial government, stand up to the Conservatives and refuse to play along with this in the same principled way that Quebec has done. I'm part of a group called the Step It Up campaign. I've talked with you before about the Step It Up campaign. It's a provincial campaign made up of women's organizations, shelters, rape crisis lines, training institutes like George Brown College where I work, and lots of other groups. And we have drafted a letter It will be available soon on our website, and it will be available to organizations and to individuals to adapt and to send to Premier Dalton McGuinty and Minister of Women's Issues Laurel Broughton. We want to demand that Ontario take the same steps as Quebec and refuse to turn over those records. Dalton McGuinty so far has not indicated that he would be willing to do this, so that means that you and I and all of the organizations we're members of need to encourage him to do that, and to let him know that the urban votes that he prizes so much will go out the window if he does not stand up for women all across this province, will not stand up for the rights of women to live securely in their homes. Having a long gun registry doesn't mean that that women won't continue to be threatened and killed by their partners, but it is a tool that can be used to help to limit that threat, to help to hold the men that have those guns accountable. And it is a terrible decision, a wrong decision. I can't stress how awful this decision is, to abandon women's rights and to get rid of the registry. We need more control of guns. We need fewer guns in this country. We need fewer men who believe that they have a right to control women having access to weapons. We need to step up these controls. We need to step up the accountability for anyone who wants to own a gun in this country, not reduce it. And so this is the wrong way to go, and I hope that you'll join the Step It Up campaign. You can write to info@stepitopontario.ca, and we can send you out a copy of the letter, and make sure that you sign one and send it to the Premier, okay? We may not be able to stop the Conservative majority, but we certainly can stand up as a province to these kinds of decisions and refuse to cooperate. Thanks.